I never thought a single kick could rewrite the way I viewed my entire family. Not a punch, not a slap. Just a kick. A kick that sent my graduation cake. The cake I worked 3 years of my life to earn, flying off the table and crashing onto the floor. And before I could even react, my sister's son, Landon, pointed at the mess and laughed. "Pick it up like a dog, Uncle Avery." The room froze. The air tightened. I felt something inside me crack, something that had been held together for years with duct tape, hope, and denial. And in that moment, I knew my life would never be the same again. My name is Avery, and for most of my life, I've tried to be the good son. Not the favorite, because that title has always belonged to my older sister, Rachel, but the one who stayed out of trouble, the one who didn't ask much, the one who worked quietly in the background while my family poured their time, money, and affection into Rachel and her child Landon. Rachel became a mother at 19, and from that day on, my parents built their world around her. Every mistake she made was forgiven instantly. Every decision she regretted was blamed on stress. Every lack of planning became our responsibility, especially mine. I wasn't jealous of Rachel. I was exhausted by her. My parents always said, "Avery, she needs help. She's your sister. You're the stable one." Stable, responsible, supportive. Words that sound like compliments until you realize they mean you exist to carry the load. Meanwhile, Landon grew up being told he could do no wrong. If he snatched something from me as a kid, my mom would smile and say, "He's just playful, Avery." If he lied about breaking something, my dad would shrug. Boys will be boys. And when he bullied me at family gatherings, Rachel would laugh like it was some adorable sibling prank, even though he wasn't my sibling. By the time I was in high school, everyone assumed I'd babysit him whenever Rachel felt tired, hungover, or simply in the mood for me time. And I did. He babysat. I cooked for him. I cleaned up after him. I tolerated insults from a child who was learning, very clearly that he was being raised without boundaries. But I worked hard. I studied. I got scholarships my parents didn't have to pay for. I got into a good college. I pushed myself through 4 brutal years, 3 jobs, sleepless nights, anxiety attacks because I wanted one moment where I could stand up and say, I did something for me. That moment was my graduation. I didn't ask for money. I didn't ask for a gift. I asked for this. Can we have one small family dinner? Just us? Just for me? They agreed. At least, they said they did. The restaurant was supposed to be a celebration of my accomplishment. A simple dinner. Something I'd imagined for months. But the moment we walked in, I saw the signs. Rachel ordered for the table before I even sat down. My parents fussed over Landon when he threw a tantrum about the lighting. And when I tried to talk about college, my dad waved me off. Avery, we hear about your school all the time. Let's not make tonight all about that. I froze. Wasn't that the point of tonight? My graduation? But I swallowed the anger. I always do. I always did. The cake. A white and gold sponge cake with "Congratulations, Avery." Written across it, sat in the center of the table. The restaurant gifted it to me. They didn't know my family never planned one. I watched as Landon bounced restlessly, pointing at the cake like it offended him. Is this it? This little thing? Mom, can I cut it? Can I? Rachel giggled. Not yet, honey. Let Avery. Landon stuck his finger into the frosting and licked it. My mom laughed. My dad took a picture, and I just sat there, my cheeks burning, feeling like a guest at my own celebration. Throughout dinner, Landon kept poking me with his fork, throwing crumbs at me and saying things like, "Why do you talk like that? You sound weird. You think you're better than us?" Rachel didn't care. She was busy scrolling through her phone, posting pictures with the caption, "Proud of my baby brother." My parents bragged to the waiter about Rachel's new work-from-home job. They bragged about Landon's soccer team. They bragged about Rachel's new apartment. They did not mention me, not once. Even when the waiter came over to congratulate me, Rachel cut in. Yeah, he graduated. But look at what Landon made in art class. And she shoved a crumpled drawing toward the waiter. I laughed. Not because it was funny, because I realized this dinner was never mine. When it was finally time to cut the cake, I felt this tiny flicker of hope. Like maybe, just maybe, things would be okay. I stood up. I took a breath. The waiter dimmed the lights. People around the restaurant clapped softly. For a moment, I felt seen. But as I lifted the knife, Landon shoved past me, grabbed the knife from my hand and yelled, "I'm cutting it. I'm the special one." Rachel didn't stop him. My parents didn't correct him. I gently tried to take the knife back. But then Landon kicked my leg. Hard. My knee buckled. The knife fell. He stuck out his foot and shoved the cake off the table. It crashed onto the floor in a splatter of frosting and crumbs. People gasped. The room fell silent. Landon pointed at the mess, smirking, and said, Pick it up like a dog, Uncle Avery. My mother covered her mouth, not in shock, in laughter. My father shook his head like I was the embarrassing one. And Rachel? She looked straight at me, completely emotionless, and said, "Just clean it up, Avery. You know how he gets." That was the exact moment, the exact second, when something cold and electric passed through me. For 24 years, I'd been the quiet one, the forgiving one, the one who let things slide. But not anymore. Not after that. Not after being humiliated in front of an entire restaurant over the cake. I worked my entire life to deserve. This was the moment that changed everything. The restaurant stayed silent after Landon's words. Forks paused mid-air. Someone at the next table whispered, "Oh my God." I stared at the cake on the floor. White frosting smeared across the tiles. My name broken in half. For a few seconds, I didn't move. Not because I was weak, but because something inside me was recalculating, quietly, dangerously. I realized something terrifying and liberating at the same time. No one was coming to defend me. Not my parents. Not my sister. Not anyone. So I straightened my back, slowly. I looked at Landon first. He was grinning, waiting for me to kneel. Then I looked at my parents. My mother avoided my eyes. My father sighed, irritated, not at Landon, but at me. Rachel crossed her arms and said impatiently, "Avery, don't make a scene." That sentence did it. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't shout. I spoke calmly, so calmly it scared even me. "No." Rachel blinked. "What?" I said it again. "No, I'm not cleaning it." The table erupted. My mother whispered sharply, "Avery, stop." My father said, "You're embarrassing us." Rachel laughed, short and sharp. "Oh my God, are you serious? He's a kid." I turned to her. "He's old enough to humiliate me. He's old enough to learn consequences." Landon scoffed. "Mom, he's mad." I stepped closer, not to Landon, but to my parents. "Do you know what hurts the most?" I said quietly. "Not the cake. Not the insult. It's realizing that if I don't stand up for myself right now, I never will." My mother stood up. "Avery, you are overreacting." I nodded. "Maybe, but for once, I'm choosing myself." Then I did something no one expected. I reached into my jacket, pulled out my phone, and placed it on the table. "You remember the savings account you made me start at 16? The one you said was for emergencies?" My father frowned. "Yes." I smiled, tight and sad. "That account has over $42,000 in it." Rachel's face changed instantly. "What?" I continued. "Money I earned, scholarships, jobs, refunds, all mine." My mother whispered, "Avery." I raised my hand. "I already know what you were going to say tonight." Silence. "You were going to ask me to help pay for Landon's private school." Again. "You were going to say family helps family." Rachel opened her mouth. I didn't let her speak. "I'm done." Then I turned to Landon. I crouched, not to pick up the cake, but to meet his eyes. "You don't get to treat people like dogs," I said firmly. "Not today. Not ever." He looked confused. For the first time, scared. I stood up. "I'm leaving." My father snapped, "Sit down." I shook my head. I already graduated. I don't need permission anymore. And I walked out. The next week was chaos. My phone exploded with messages. My mother cried in voicemails. My father accused me of tearing the family apart. Rachel called me selfish, ungrateful, dramatic. But something surprising happened too. My aunt called me. "I was there," she said softly. "You did the right thing." Then my cousin. Then a family friend. People started telling me stories. I'd never heard about how Rachel always crossed lines, how my parents enabled it, how everyone stayed quiet to keep the peace. I wasn't alone. Rachel demanded an apology. I didn't give one. My parents asked for space. I gave them distance. And Landon? The school suspended him for bullying 2 months later. Rachel called me screaming. I hung up. I didn't lose my family that night. I lost the illusion that they would ever protect me. And that loss was freedom. I learned that self-respect isn't loud. It's firm. It's final. Sometimes the most powerful moment in your life isn't when someone hurts you. It's when you decide they never will again. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever been told to stay quiet to keep the peace, remember this. Peace that costs your dignity isn't peace at all. What's the moment you finally chose yourself? Share it in the comments.